Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're cracking open a topic that's surprisingly common, but maybe not talked about enough. It hits you right when you plan to use your U.S. college diploma or university transcripts internationally.
Exactly. You've done the hard work, you've got the degree, maybe you're aiming for further study, a dream job overseas, or perhaps you're already living abroad, as an expat.
Right, and then bam,
Yeah.
you hit this bureaucratic wall. Suddenly, that degree isn't automatically accepted. Foreign institutions, employers, governments, they need proof.
Yeah, proof that it's authentic, that it's the real deal, issued by a legitimate U.S. institution. They need assurance it hasn't been, fabricated.
And this is where a key concept from the information we're looking at comes in. It's called an apostille, or sometimes authentication.
That's the core of it. An apostille is a, let's say, specific kind of legal certificate. It basically validates the signature and the seal on your U.S. document.
Okay.
So it becomes officially recognized in countries that are part of the Hague Apostille Convention. And that's a lot of countries, over 100.
Wow, over 100. But what about countries not in that group?
Well, for those, you need a different process, usually called authentication or legalization. It's often, frankly, more complicated.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is really to understand why this certification is even necessary today. What the typical process actually looks like.
How it works, yeah.
Why it can get so incredibly complicated, especially, like you said, if you're trying to sort this out from overseas.
A major headache for many.
And crucially, what solutions are out there. The information we got dives into this and points towards a specific kind of service that aims to simplify things.
And, fundamentally, this whole thing is about trust, isn't it? Trust across borders. There's no global university verification system.
Good point.
So when you present, say, your diploma from Boston University abroad, how does that foreign institution know it's legit? The apostille or authentication acts as that kind of standardized signal. It says, yes, the U.S. authorities have checked this out.
So it's less about verifying your grades or that you actually attended, and more about the document itself, like the signatures and seals on it are real.
Precisely. It confirms the authority of the person who signed it, the authenticity of the seal. It's validating the document's credentials, so to speak. Who needs this, you ask? Well, lots of people.
Like who specifically?
Students, definitely. If you're applying for grad school overseas, they'll likely need validated transcripts, validated diplomas. Graduates looking for jobs abroad, too.
Okay, employers ask for this.
Oh, frequently.
Yeah.
They want authenticated proof of your degree. Professionals, too, if you need licensing or certification in another country, expect to need your academic records apostilled or authenticated.
Right.
And, even alumni dealing with immigration matters, residency, citizenship applications, this kind of authenticated documentation often becomes mandatory.
Got it. So basically, anyone taking their U.S. education credentials international for any serious purpose, and it doesn't matter where you went to school in the U.S.
Nope. The source material makes it clear. Whether it's a big name like, say, Boston College, UMass, MIT, Harvard, or a smaller college anywhere in the States, the requirement is the same.
That's universal then, which begs the question.
Why isn't it better known?
Yeah. Given how many Americans go abroad, why isn't this part of the standard graduation checklist? It feels like a hidden step until you desperately need it.
That's a really good point. It often catches people by surprise. Now, let's maybe walk through the typical process. The info we have lays it out.
Okay, let's do it. Where does it start?
Usually, the first step is notarization. You take your official diploma or transcript, or sometimes a properly certified copy, to a notary public here in the U.S.
Okay, and notary, what do they do?
They verify your identity, or maybe the signature of the university registrar, and they witness your signature attesting it's a true copy. Or they notarize the original signature. They put their stamp and seal on it. This basically validates it within the U.S. system.
Step one, notary, then what?
Then it has to go up the chain to the state level. You send it to the Secretary of State's office, specifically in the state where that notary is commissioned.
Right, okay.
Their job is to verify the notary's signature and seal. They check that the notary is legit and active in that state. And this is where the apostille certificate gets attached, assuming the destination country is in the Hague Convention.
And if it's not a Hague country?
Then it gets a different state certification. That's often just the first step in a longer chain involving maybe the U.S. Department of State and then the embassy of the destination country. Much more involved.
And sometimes, even after all that, there's more.
Potentially, yes. Translation. Depending on where it's going, you might need an official certified translation of the document and the apostille into the local language. And the source stresses certified translation. It has to meet legal standards.
Not just Google Translate then.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And finally, you have to actually get the document where it needs to go. Secure international shipping is pretty vital.
Okay, I'm already feeling stressed just hearing this. Notarization, state certification, maybe federal, maybe embassy, possible certified translation, international shipping.
Right.
Especially if you're already living abroad. How do you even find a U.S. notary overseas easily? How do you manage sending documents back and forth to the right state office dealing with their specific rules, maybe in a different time zone?
Exactly. It sounds like, and often is, a logistical nightmare. The source really highlights these pain points, navigating the different rules for different countries, making sure every I is dotted and crossed on the forms, just managing the back and forth from thousands of miles away.
Small mistakes could derail the whole thing, I imagine.
Well, absolutely. Documents get rejected for minor errors all the time, causing huge delays. That's why, as the source points out, having expertise, having an agency you can trust with these really important documents becomes so valuable, especially for Americans overseas who just can't easily fly back home for paperwork.
Which leads us nicely to the solution the source material talks about, using a specialized service.
Yes, exactly. It highlights services like BostonApostilleService.com as a kind of one-stop shop designed precisely for this. They handle the whole thing, end to end, meaning they cover the necessary notarization if needed. They manage the state-level processing to get the apostille quickly and reliably, the source says. They can arrange certified translations if required. And they handle the secure shipping worldwide.
So they basically lift that whole burden off your shoulders, deal with the bureaucracy for you.
That's the idea. Remove the guesswork, handle the logistics, especially helpful for international clients, right? They state they handle documents from any U.S. college or university. Doesn't matter if it's UMass, MIT, Boston College, BU, Harvard, or a small liberal arts college in Oregon.
That nationwide scope is definitely a plus. What about the cost? Because dealing with government agencies, certified translations, international shipping, sounds like it could get expensive.
Well, this is interesting. The source material actually emphasizes the cost as a major benefit. It says their rates are very reasonable, starting at just $149.95 per document.
Okay, $149.95.
But here's the key part. According to the source, that price includes all the government fees and postage. They describe it as under $150 and the best value in the area for this service.
Wow, under $150 all in. Including those state fees. That does sound really competitive for avoiding all that hassle. So how does it work if you want to use them, especially if you're overseas?
The process described is deliberately simple. Step 1, gather your documents. Step 2, place your order online using their secure application form. Step 3, ship your documents to them. Step 4, they do all the processing, get the apostille. Step 5, they ship the completed apostille documents back to you wherever you are in the world.
Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward from the user's end. Collect, order, ship, receive.
Designed to be simple for the client, yes.
But, sending original diplomas or vital transcripts, that requires a lot of trust. How do you know they're reliable?
That's a crucial point. The source mentions they've been doing this for 15 years, suggesting experience and stability. It also notes they are bonded and insured, which offers some financial security.
Okay, longevity, insurance.
And importantly, they have a physical office, an actual street address you can look up, even visit. That provides a lot more peace of mind than just a website, especially when you're sending irreplaceable documents.
Having a real place, a phone number you can call, that definitely builds confidence.
Right. Their office is at 1215 Main St. Unit 115 in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. The source says it's just minutes from Boston, and the phone number is 978-424-4629.
Good to have those details. And office hours.
According to the source, Monday and Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., they do note they close for lunch from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. daily.
So you could potentially even walk in if you're in the area.
Seems so. It suggests they're set up to handle these specific document needs efficiently, making a potentially really stressful process much smoother for people.
Okay, let's recap then. What's the big takeaway here? It seems absolutely essential to get your U.S. college diploma or transcripts properly apostilled or authenticated if you plan to use them abroad.
Absolutely. Whether you're a student, a job seeker, a professional needing a license, or sorting out immigration, it's often a non-negotiable requirement.
And the process itself isn't automatic. It involves multiple steps, notarization, state certification, maybe translation, And it can be a real headache to manage, especially from overseas.
A major headache. And trying to do it yourself from abroad without needing to fly back, very difficult.
So the source points to dedicated services like BostonApostilleService.com as a practical solution. They offer a streamlined process covering everything from start to finish, including worldwide shipping, specifically helping those overseas.
Key things highlighted were they handle docs from any U.S. university. Their rates start under $150, including government fees, which seems like great value. The online application is simple. They have 15 years of experience. They're bonded, insured, and have a real physical office.
And those contact details again. Phone 978-424-4629. Website BostonApostilleService.com. And the office at 1215 Main St. Unit 115, Tewksbury, MA 01876.
That covers the practical side.
It does. But here's something maybe a bit more philosophical to think about. In our world where education and careers are increasingly global, how does knowing about this underlying need for validation change how you view international opportunities? Is it just another bureaucratic hoop, or is it perhaps a necessary part of building trust in a global marketplace?
That's a fascinating question, and it leads to another one. What does the very existence of something like the Hague Apostille Convention, this attempt at standardization, tell us? We live in a world that feels incredibly connected, right? But these processes show it's also still quite complex, fragmented by national borders and legal systems. It suggests this ongoing tension between globalization and national sovereignty, especially when it comes to something as fundamental as trust and verification, something definitely to mull over.